So in this third lesson we're going to look at the idea of variables, and I'm going back to using this window here where I have my Hello World program. Let's just create a couple of lines above that. Now what we're going to do is have some variables here. So what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to just define a variable that I've called x, and I'm going to put in there the value 4. Then I'm going to put a value 5 into y. And let's just close this up a bit, we don't want lots of space. Now, I'm going to add 4 and 5 and print out the result over here. So I'm going to print x plus y. Now let's run the program. Obviously it wants me to save, and then we get the output 9. And you may think that's a lot of work just to add 4 and 5, but the point is with variables we can change the values that's in them all the time as the program needs. It may not just carry 4 and 5, and we can do arithmetic with them. So we could make that x minus y, and we'd run that, and of course from that we should get -1, which we do. We can see that over here, and there's all sorts of things that we could do. So x to the power y and so on. Now, as mentioned, as we work through a program we might assign different values into these. So for example down here, if I now say that x is equal to 6, that replaces the value 4 in there. And if I now put down here print, and I'm going to do, so we'll have x to the power y again, then when we run this, so the first time it does 4 to the power 5, and the second time it does 6 to the power 5 because we changed the value of x. I'm just going to get rid of that part. So we'll look at user input shortly. That's how we can get values from a user. But when we do get values from a user, even if they're typing in numbers like 4, they actually come in as type string, which means they're text rather than numbers. So those are now numbers. So if I did x to the power y there, or let's go back to something simpler, let's just make it x plus y, it won't actually, well it will actually add them, I think. It will just give us 45 over here. Let's see, yeah, it gives us 45 because it just takes the string 4 and adds it to the string 5, and clearly that's not the right result for 4 plus 5. So what we could do here is change those back to integers. So if we do int x, it will change that string to the integer 4, and I'll go int y like so, and then if we run that it should go back to giving us the correct answer, which is 9. Now we could also do something like this where we've put a string together with some numbers and then printed that out. So let's suppose we have another variable z, and that's going to be a string as well, and that's going to say that 4 add 5 equals. Now what we can't do is add a string to integers, so let's just take those out of there for the moment. And then here I'm going to say that, let's just leave a line to make it clearer. So I'm going to say that x is equal, I could use another variable but it's not a problem. I can just do x is equal to int x plus int y. And then what happens is the x on this side here would be this string 4. We'll take it into an integer 4. Int y would be 5, 4 plus 5, and then that gets put into x. So x would no longer contain the string 4. It will contain 4 plus 5 is 9. Y will still contain the string 5 because we haven't changed that. So I'm going to put in here z, which is a string, and we're going to add z to x because we want to say what the answer is, but it needs to be a string so that we can add it. So we go str x, and that will take the value in x, which is 9, make it into a string, and then add it on to this string. So when we run that over here, we get 4 plus 5 equals 9.